know if you hear. Welcome everyone. Unfortunately, Guy Sengstock wrote me that he's unwell today, so I don't know how long today's streaming will be. I just, for sure there are some announcements I want to make, and hopefully we will continue with the regular coaching next week. As you know, this is 5 a.m. for me in the morning, so I just read his message 20 minutes ago. Anyway, let me give you my little announcement, my thoughts. A lot has been going on in my mind since last week. Move a bit here, it's noisy. And feel free to, by the way, right now, if you write comments, I see them, so we can have a dialogue as well. All right. I think my mission, let's call it, is becoming more clear. Right now, I'm envisioning, let's say three very ambitious and nested projects. On one side, this is in global scope. I want to develop tools to facilitate the transition to civium/bioregionalism, and in particular the tool that I want to develop is, now I bought the website, the domain name. It's called gentopia.dev, and it's basically, imagine a Google Earth kind of globe, and then as you zoom in you see all the bioregions and then the sub-regions, the watersheds, like you can just see the landscape subdivided into meaningful ecological regions. And then as you zoom in more, you see kind of like procedurally generated subdivisions of the landscape, still again meaningful, based on ecoregions or ecology, but maybe also based on culture, until we reach the point of little places where Dunbar numbers can fit. And by Dunbar numbers I mean like, for example, let's say how do I say that? I'm noticing that I started very that I need to calm down for a moment. Alright, so the Dunbar number is the result of a series of scientific inquiries by Roger Dunbar, and basically he found out that most organizations or most people have this number of 150 people that they engage with or interact with in life. And what you might not know is that there is a whole series of numbers. 150 is only one in a series of numbers where humans can organize with kind of reduced coherence. And so the whole game B idea is that civilizations allow us to organize way beyond Dunbar numbers, but by transforming human beings kind of like into ants, into cogs in a larger machine. Meanwhile, in older pre-civilizational tribes, the size was right, where like everyone could really interact and engage, being fully themselves, and all voices could be heard. And so the idea of civium is to kind of go back to more, let's call it more of a tribal organization at the physical level, but still, now that we have the internet, be connected at a global level. So basically the idea that the city were kind of like an attractor for the human mind, but bad for the human body, And now that we have the internet and in virtual, we can basically be all together in the virtual and collaborate and innovate. It's time for our bodies to kind of segregate again and live in a context that is good for our body's evolution, which is within smaller groups in nature. Sorry. And basically, this is what I want to help visualize with this tool, so that you can really, like, you have this globe, you zoom in, you see all these regions, and then within the regions, sub-regions, blah blah blah, until you reach really like small areas of a couple of hectares where one little Dunbar can live. And then I would like you to be able to kind of drop in there and really have like a 3D procedurally generated scene with, you know, the house, the houses, the fields, the crops, and so on. And maybe, if possible, to have that like as a VR experience, so you can really like feel what it would be like to be in such a situation. And it's ambitious, it's big in scope. Hopefully over time, you know, I want to make it open source, so you know, over time you can get more collaborators, get more information about what is meaningful, what makes sense, to really have it not just as a simulator, but then over time also as an actual design tool, as people really think, okay, but for my bioregion we need to add this logic because it's specific, there are these specific strengths and weaknesses here. You know, and it could become really like a global repository of kind of patterns to organize. Anyway, so that's kind of project number one, which is already huge in scope. But then I want to use kind of the collected knowledge and there, and maybe more, you know, more specific stuff, and apply it to my area, which is Switzerland. And for example, I don't even know whether Switzerland is the right frame, because Switzerland is part of 3 huge watersheds that go in completely different directions here in Europe, and it is part of 2 big ecoregions. And so, you know, like all of this, I want to, if possible, be in touch with experts in the field and say, okay, what is the right frame of reference? And then to apply this specifically for Switzerland, to say, okay, what does civium/bioregionalism look like if implemented in Switzerland, and kind of create maybe blog posts or narratives around it. And then let's call, this is still part of this project, it would be like to see, okay, this is where we would like to be, and this is where we are, you know, like really compare the current political situation, cultural situation, you know, like how things are laid out right now, and see, okay, what is possible, and actually network with within this area, and see what can be catalyzed, you know, like can we spark a movement in this area. Obviously always with the intent of then feeding back the learnings to the global community too. That's why all these projects are linked. And then the last one, the smallest project, is to actually start something here, start Protobi, start Dunbar tribe, you know, like an eco village, a smart village, whatever, something, what like out of this process an insight will come out as to what is the most elegant move, what can be done within my lifetime, let's say. How can, if possible, we as a family, like where can we move to, who can we do that with, what can be made possible. And I think that this nesting makes sense because I don't just want to find a solution for me. I want to be part of, let's call it a movement, you know, I want to be part of a process I want to do things in a way that makes it easier for everyone else to do it too. Um, yeah, I think that's more or less it. It's basically each of these projects on its own would be already like hugely ambitious and take a lifetime. Um, and hopefully over time, you know, I found them all like super worthwhile. And so hopefully over time more and more people will chime in and participate and at all levels. And so I won't have to do it all, let's say. But I'm super excited, and I guess what I would have talked about today with Guy Sengstock would be what what's what are the next steps maybe. I think money would have been a topic. It's like right now I'm doing this part-time in the mornings, stealing a moment here and there. Um, Obviously it would be better if I could do all of this full-time, right? And how do I kind of finance this? How do I, like I have my day job, and can I leave it? Like I need some kind of safe container for this. Um, and I, this is what now the coaching would be about, I guess. I don't know if I should like think out loud a bit about it, or complete the live streaming, given that Guy Sengstock is not around. um, I see that someone is online, so hi there. Feel free to leave a comment. I just gave a long summary of my new mission. I don't know if you saw that. So something that I can say is that I set up a subscribe star, which is a bit like Patreon, where people can support me, where they can kind of subscribe and give me a certain monthly amount of money, and basically I have set up some goals so that if I reach a certain amount of money, then I will take a month of unpaid leave so that I can like dedicate my full time on it. And basically it, that's the cool thing about this model is it's not just money that goes nowhere because it will take me forever to be able to do this full time all the time. It's more like if it accumulates to a certain amount, then I take a month free, and then again, right, it starts all over. And so I think it's a good way to kind of like build a bit of momentum even before one can really like become fully independent. So that's an idea that I had, and I have a sense that even that is going to take a long time, like to, because I live in Switzerland and life is expensive here. So and that would have been maybe a good opportunity to ask what other ways are there, like this specifically the first project I talked about, so this Gentopia tool, given that it's like global in scope, given that it's a tool that one can kind of describe it maybe a bit like I could learn to describe it in a faster way, and in a more like sexy, and I could learn to pitch it better. Maybe a Kickstarter could be made out of that. So that's a possibility. I probably would have to have a bit more of a let's say a prototype, something that actually works and gives an idea of what is possible. Maybe I have to kind of like dive a bit more deeply into the technical aspect of it. I mean, at the moment I have just I bought the domain yesterday, and I researched a lot of the tools to create this Google Earth like thing, and I have a lot of I have spent a lot of time this year collecting data that is needed, you know, watershed data, ecoregion data, and so on. So that's already a good basis, but a lot of work will have to go into that. But given that it's really like a thing that can be described, maybe Kickstarter could be an idea. I'm even wondering, you know, whether there are some experts in Kickstarters that can like create a campaign for you, you know, because really well done campaigns can be successful. So that's an idea. I mean, obviously also this being this is part of maybe the how, you know, I have these 3 projects, and the how is I want to do it as transparently, as open source, etc. as possible. And so maybe as I continue to describe what I'm up to and refine it, I can get to like organically to kind of like a pitch where I can say this is the aim, this is why, and this is how I'm gonna do it, and this is how you can make it become a reality. Right? But yeah, for now, I guess the most meaningful thing you can do is really like just let me know that you think it's cool. When I share updates, maybe try things out, click around, see, find bugs, give me feedback. Yeah, and if you want to support me, obviously, link is in the description. I think that this is a good point to stop, and hopefully next week, guys, Sengstock will be available. I mean, I have no reason to doubt it. So thank you for watching, and see you next week.